Through most of my life, I'm what you call a ENFP. So E stands for extrovert. I'm also intuitive. I'm P for perceiving. So to me, there's never like a right and wrong. It's just like perspectives are welcomed. And like it describes here, I'm enthusiastic, sociable. And then in my recent years, I'm ENTP. I've become quite from a campaigner to a debater. And so that shows a different part of my personality now. And then John recently took the test, and it came up with that he has more of an entrepreneur mindset. So it's fun to take these tests. Not all of it has to be intense. Some of it's just to get to know your baseline personality. And like I said, you can go online and do this. This has been incredibly helpful in our marriage, is how do we respond to challenging information? How do I respond to difficult information? How do I respond to what I perceive as a conflict? So there's 4 types of responses. Maybe my response is to fight. He's wrong and I'm right. That's the mindset. Maybe it's flight. I want to avoid it. I don't want to talk about it. So let's just talk about something else. We tend to switch from one topic to the other. Sometimes some of us get so overwhelmed by anything we feel is threatening that we kind of just shut down and nothing comes out. We just freeze. And so we can't actually learn or listen or even talk. We've become really paralyzed. And one I recently learned is the fawn response, where we tend to people please. We kind of cave and we accommodate so we can pacify them, although we don't agree with it. So it's really good to know which one you are. And in our marriage, because of my big, crazy Asian family, I'm a fighter. And to me, that's bonding. So you can bond through fighting, fun, or food. And I do all 3. Fight, food, and fun. So I'm more of the fighter. And then the way that John grew up, it's more cross between flight and freeze. Because there's less people in his family. And so there's less, and he's the only child, so who do you fight with, yourself? Maybe, I don't know. But
it's really, yeah.
So
it's much easier to avoid people when there's only 1 or 2 other people in the home, versus 14.
True. So kind of maybe take a look at where do you fall into this. And this really plays into your dynamic of how you communicate with one another. So the life trap that we took, and we learned this actually through taking Good Enough Parenting with the Louis. And it was developed by Jeffrey Young, actually. So so these are like distorted point of views that we have from the way we grew up. And so one of the life traps that I still have is what they call unrelenting standards. So the picture really signifies my internal battle. There's all these achievements, but you see the person here, they're really distressed. They never feel like they're good enough. There's always pressure. There's a lot of perfectionism in there. And I grew up in a family that placed very little value on emotions, very little value on fun, but most of what we got praised for was how we performed in school. And so then I developed this schema that I feel like has really hurt my marriage in many ways, because I expect a lot from myself. I expect a lot from John. It's never good enough. And of course, this is unconscious. I don't like walk around telling my whole family they're not enough. But there's ways that I behave and speak to them that has made them feel that way, or my husband in particular.
And one of my life traps is the failure life trap. So the failure life trap says, I am a failure, I have failed, I will always fail, and I am less successful than other people. And it's weird that I have this one because I was praised all the time. But I think I just learned you always have to get praise. So always praise or else you're going to fail. So there's this fear of failure that they're constantly, right? So this is going to be like a root of where a lot of things come in our conversations and our communication.
Yeah. So then also recently I was reading this book, this term highly sensitive person, and it kind of revolutionized my understanding of my son, one of my kids, and my husband. Highly sensitive people make up about 20% of the population. It's not a diagnosis, it's just a personality trait. They have sensitivity to things, and maybe John can describe himself a little bit. It's more of his personality. And then someone recommended a book to me called Imperative People, Those Who Must Be in Control. So imagine the clash. You have a sensitive person, and then you have a highly insensitive person, a highly imperative person. Like, everything is important to me, and I have to be in control. And a lot of it is not because I just like to run around and control things. A lot of it comes from my own trauma, things, the way I grew up, and things were so out of control that for me to feel safe in a relationship, I always feel like I have to be in control. And so maybe John can describe more of the highly sensitive person and the inner battle.
Yeah, so in the highly sensitive person, the description is easily overwhelmed by sensory. And this was new to me, but I've always been like sensitive to noise, and I'll like flinch, and I hate like loud noise. Feeling a need for downtime, like, man, I need a break. I gotta take a break in the middle of whatever thing we're discussing. I need a break. So there's a lot of, all these things are combining, right? You can see like, okay, he's like sensitive, he's an avoider, right? If you're an avoider, classic is like, I got to take a nap, I got to go out for a walk, or I got to go to the bathroom, okay? Like, if you say that, like, during times of stress, you are a classic avoider. Okay, and then on this side, it's imperative. So, right, it must happen, and it must happen now, and I'm sure this can wait till some other time, right? Any other time except for right now. So this is the combination of our communication.
Can I share one thing? Mm-hmm. Well, it's really funny. I'll just tell them so if we're in an argument, I'm the imperative person that needs to deal with it now, and he avoids. So when we were younger in our marriage, I would literally run around the house following him. Like, he would do that, and I would be like just in a circle, because I wanted to get resolved right away. And then what's been life-changing about understanding that he's a highly sensitive person is that the more I chased him, the more it would shut him down, because he's feeling incapable of responding at the moment. Not that he doesn't want to, but it's information overload, it's too intense, and his mind basically hijacks itself, and he's shut down. So I think understanding that that's something that happens, that's how his mind and body responds, it's really helped me to be way more patient and control myself so that I don't unknowingly trigger this sort of response in him. And so if you're not sure if you are or not, I mean, these two books have been incredibly helpful for us.
Fantastic. Okay, so now we're going to kind of get to what this class is about, okay? And so this what we're going to show next, it's called the Comfort Circle, okay? And it comes from a book called How We Love. We'll get into that. But I want to talk about comfort for a moment, because we don't always think when we're in a heated discussion with our spouse that my job is to offer comfort to the other person. Okay, it's not usually where our brain first goes. But I want us to think about, why did God put us together, right? We're so different. We're so different from one another. And I'm going to I haven't said this publicly, but I remember there's a time where I thought, you know what? Same-sex marriage makes a lot of sense right now. Because if I was into dudes, and I was married to a dude, this would be easy. Dude, we think the same, we talk the same, we want the same thing at the same time, but I'm not. So here we are, and we're very different.
Yes.
Even if you grew up in, like, we had identical backgrounds, male, female, totally different. And so what are we to do with one? We can't fix the other person, because we're so different than the other person. And so many times I think we're there to fix, but I don't think that's why God puts together. No. I think what unites all human beings is that we have joy and we have pain. And there's sunshine and there's rain. Okay. Right? We got joy and we got pain. So you got joy, who do you want to celebrate with? Spouse. You got pain, what do you need? Comfort, right? Yeah. We need comfort. Let's look at God and the way that he comforts. That is not those scriptures. There we go. Isaiah 66:13. As a mother comforts her child, so will I comfort you, O Israel, and you will be comforted over Jerusalem. Isaiah 49:13. Shout for joy, you heavens. Rejoice, you earth. Burst into song, you mountains, for the Lord comforts his people and will have compassion on his afflicted ones. It's amazing to me, the whole world rejoices when God's people are comforted by their God.
Amen.
And if you think about times where people have been in pain and you've comforted them, or you've been in pain and somebody comforted you, it didn't fix the situation. It didn't make the situation go away. But man, the world was totally different because you received comfort. And so, based on kind of that view, the exercise we're going to do, Young and I are going to do in a moment here together, is called the Comfort Circle. And then you're going to have, if your spouse is here, you're going to have a chance to practice that with your spouse. Okay, is the Comfort Circle. It comes from this book, How We Love. It's written by the Yurkovich. They're a couple. It's a great book. It's been super helpful for us. And it really changed the way that we interacted. We've gone to a lot of marriage retreats and had a lot of talks about marriage communication. And we've done a lot, and they're very helpful.
Yes.
But this one felt totally different because the point in it is not necessarily to get on the same page. The point isn't to come to an agreement. The point isn't to fix it. The point is simply, I'm going to listen as you express pain and really hear you,
Yes.
and then offer comfort. And sometimes I've caused that pain, right? And the thing is, if I cause her pain, I can't go back and fix that. I can't. I did it already. Yeah. All that I can do is offer comfort. I can't go back and make it right. It's impossible, right? And now her job is to forgive me, but how much easier is it to forgive if you're receiving some comfort, right? And so if we can offer comfort to one another, it changes. As going through this, right, I'm an avoider. She would bring up very strong emotions, and I would freeze. And literally my throat gets tight, and that's called emotional strangulation. Okay, if you find yourself difficult conversations, your throat, it's emotional strangulation. Like, you need to say something, but you can't.
Yeah.
And I knew all she needed was for me to say something. Like, she just needs to be engaged with. That's it. Like, she's not even too high expectations, just something. And I'd be sitting there thinking, say something, John. She just wants something. Just say something. Something's got to come out of your mouth, John. Say something.
Nothing.
I mean,
Yeah.
minutes are going by. I got issues, okay?
Me too.
And so, but this offered me a way to engage and to offer comfort. Maybe you can share a little bit too. Yeah, we should move.
So this is an overview of the Comfort Circle. And we'll walk you through a general overview, and then you will have your worksheet where it will guide you through it. I'll go through it, and then John and I will demonstrate it or practice it in real time with you, and then you'll have a chance. So seeking awareness is just to become aware of yourself and your spouse. Engaging is where, when you do the Comfort Circle, there will be a speaker and a listener, and the speaker will answer the questions and share openly. Then explore and find out more is when the listener will listen and ask questions, and the speaker will answer those questions. And the questions are talking about, what stressed you out? Where do you feel it on your body? What physical reactions? What behaviors did you go through? What were the consequences of those feelings? How would you rate those feelings? What beliefs did you form about yourself, God, others as you went through it? Does this remind you of something present or from the past? And then you get to rate percentage of, did I respond this way because of something that happened in the past, or was it the present? And we know with trauma, if any of us in the world that we live in have gone through it, trauma that's undealt with will get stored in our body. And sometimes unknowingly we respond from the past and not what is currently going on. And this Comfort Circle guides you through that, relates the past to the present. And then it brings the feelings and needs into the relationship, where the person says, when I feel this way, this is what I need. And then the listener can decide if that's something they can commit to. You don't want to do empty promises. And then you'll be able to summarize it. And so that's because at the end, what you're hoping is to build comfort, trust, and security. That's the full circle. You want to be able to take each other through that process of listening, of really listening, where you don't have to have the answers. The paper that we're giving you or that you scanned on it will literally walk you through it. It's very awkward at first, like very awkward. So be patient, extend grace to each other. Like I said, it's very awkward. But if you stick with it, you can feel really loved, comforted in like 7 to 10 minutes, which would be a short conversation, right?
Hallelujah.
Right. So I'm hoping this would be a good tool that will help you guys. And I don't know if you want to share like how we came to this tool.
Oh, yeah. So this tool was recommended by my therapist. So in 2017, I found myself frequently going to pornography and hiding it from my wife. And after 6 months of that, it finally came out, and she was like, "You got to go to therapy." And I was like, "You are probably right." And so started going to therapy. I went once a week for about 6 months, once every other week for about 6 months. And since then, I go to my guy, I call him, about 4 to 5 times a year. And usually after something major happened. So we lost our best friend, Terry Adame. Many of you know her. All right, I need to check in. We had some major health issues in our own family. I need to check in. So this is how it came about. And he then pulled in Young to one of our sessions so he could see our dynamic, and then recommended this book. And so we started reading this book, and we went through the comfort circle. And it was really incredible. And I think for me, I had always known, right, like I'm going to pornography for comfort, right? Like I'm stressed, there's an issue going on, da-da-da-da. So this is what I'm seeking comfort out. But really where I want to get it and where God wants me to get it is here. Yeah. And I always associated comfort with with pornography and with sex. But if sex and comfort are synonymous, like that's not a good deal either, right? It needs to come in our intimacy of communication. And so this helped me to experience comfort through communication in our relationship. And so I feel incredibly grateful for this. Like, oh, sweet, this is what I need. I don't need to run off and avoid, and maybe you have your own thing that you like to go to avoid, right? But for me, that was it, and I don't have to go to that anymore. Yeah. I can go to God, and I can go to the person he gave me and receive comfort by talking things through. And so that's how we kind of came to this tool.
And I think at that time, obviously, if you've gone through an experience like that with your spouse or betrayal trauma, as some people would call it, it's really hard to know what you need at that time because I felt like my world was shattered. And the pornography wasn't what I was actually upset about, but it was more of the deceit and just not knowing and wanting to be a source of comfort, but really being upset with myself for not knowing how to comfort my husband as he was struggling and battling with his own vices. And so I think when his guy, therapist, recommended it, I was like, we can do this. We can start rebuilding our relationship based on intimacy and comfort. And it wasn't a fix-all. It's been 5 years, and John's been amazingly transparent and has healed a lot, and I've definitely have forgiven him because I've seen him do the work, but I have also seen myself change my mindset about the struggle. And I think sometimes when it's a sexual sin, we put so much shame on it that it's hard for the person who's struggling with it to repent and come to a restored relationship with the spouse or with God. And I'm not saying it's easy. I definitely struggled for years with forgiving John, but I know through practices like this and him putting the work in just to listen and validate my feelings, it's really made us even closer. If you told me in 2017 that we would be teaching a class, I would laugh at you. I'd be like, no. But I can't believe that God, through his mercy and grace, has allowed us to struggle, go through it, and find something that really helped us to love each other well. So this tool is a practical, but it really could be transformative if you use it in your practice of wanting to be closer and communicate with each other better.
All right, so we're going to do it. And I just got a little hot flash of shame. You ever do that?
Yes.
Like, oh, I said way more than I meant to. Okay. So thank you for being here and for listening. There's only supposed to be 50 of you. And definitely not live streamed.
Yeah.
So very grateful. Thank you. Appreciate it.
Yes. Thank
So
you, baby.
let's do this. Can we get, is this mic on? It's got a green light.
Can we go back to the...
Check, 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 check mic, check mic, check mic, check mic. All right.
Okay, so you can follow along. If you don't have your spouse with you, you can actually just answer this yourself. It's a nice self-reflective exercise tool as well. So I will be basically reading word for word, and then you guys will just watch us. This is like a real situation, and then you can just see that I'll follow the script, and then it'll take us about 7 to 10 minutes. So please be patient.
I get to share my guts again. This is great. Okay.
He gets to practice vulnerability in front of a lot of people. I love you, honey. So the goal is to complete the comfort circle as the listener. Increase your self-awareness about another by listening to them and asking good questions. Ask the questions below, pausing between each question to reflect, rephrase, and validate feelings. Take notes if necessary. This is all in your paper. Okay, baby, you ready?
All right, let's do this.
Okay. Just pretend it's just you and me at home.
Yep. It's
Okay.
just us. Here we
Just
are.
us talking.
Being
Okay.
comforted.
Okay, I'll hold your hand if you want. Okay. Share with me one thing that is stressing you, concerns you, or is upsetting you right now.
Well, a couple days ago, I lost my temper with the kids, and I feel concerned about that.
Okay. So losing your temper with the kids is what is the prompting event. Okay, so I don't know, can you use a list of soul words?
Yeah.
So you'll get a list of emotion words, and there's different categories. So it's not just anger, but under anger, there's frustration and control. There's different. So they're the soul words. See, okay.
Yeah.
So, honey, use the list of soul words and tell me the top 3 feelings you have about this blowing up at the kids, and try to use more than one category on the soul words list.
I feel embarrassed under the ashamed category.
Okay, embarrassed. Okay.
And guilty under the ashamed category. I feel
Guilty.
maybe worried under the afraid category. And maybe panicky under that one. And then under anxious, probably worried. Yeah.
So it sounds like ashamed, afraid are some of the main categories you were feeling about this.
Yeah.
Could you rate the intensity of each of the feeling? 1 low and then to 10 high, and maybe pick 3 of the ones you mentioned.
I think embarrassed is probably up there.
Embarrassed.
Like around maybe like a 7. And then the other one, worried, because of like how it's going to affect them, right?
Yeah,
like,
that makes sense.
probably like an 8 or a 9.
Worried,
On that one.
embarrassed.
Yeah.
So as a reminder to the listener, try not to judge the feelings you are hearing as right or wrong. You may not agree or understand the feelings of behavior, but the goal here is to keep listening, to gain understanding rather than reacting. The more we listen, the more likely we will reach a resolution. So the embarrassed piece and worried makes sense to me. When you were feeling this, how did you experience it in your body? Can you describe the places of pressure, tension, pain, tightness? And maybe talk about your breathing a little bit for me. Deep, shallow, fast, or slow?
Yeah, I think I woke up the next day
Yeah.
and just like shallow kind of breathing.
Like,
And then during the morning, kind of felt like, like there's a hole, kind of like a vacuum kind of in my chest, kind of like a pit, I guess.
like a pit,
Yeah.
tension in your chest, shallow breathing.
Yeah, not tension, like empty.
Empty, like
Yeah.
a hollowness.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
What did you do, behaviors, reactions, because of these feelings? How did you express the emotions, or what actions did you take?
I think that morning, as I interacted with one of the kids,
Yeah.
I kind of avoided, like interacted, but kind of minimally in the morning.
Were there any consequences because of these feelings, actions, or behavior? You mentioned being embarrassed, worried, and then kind of avoided the kiddo.
Yeah, I don't think so. We had a good repair later in the day.
Okay.
No, just that kind of feeling, you know?
Yeah.
I think usually I want to like eat, right? I feel like empty
Oh.
and anxious. I'm like, I want to eat.
Like if you feel that emptiness, you want to fill it up with food?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
But we were too busy, so I didn't eat. But
Okay.
yeah.
That makes
Some
sense.
nice sugar, some chocolate.
Okay. You know, when you have these feelings and reactions, what are your beliefs or assumptions about God, yourselves, or others?
I think for myself, like definitely that failure feeling, like I
Okay.
failed, I
Yeah.
failed them. I'm failing as a dad. About
Yeah.
them,
Yeah.
like like they're unhelpable, because of
Okay.
like a repeated action that I blew up on.
Yeah.
Like they're not gonna make it. They're not gonna,
I know. You're worried about them not making it.
Yeah.
Did you experience these feelings as a child? That kind of helplessness. Now I'm hearing like a little helplessness, afraid, embarrassed.
Yeah, helpless.
You said unhelpable, so.
Yeah. And I think, a little bit of feeling like, oh, I feel a little bit helpless to overcome. Like, I know that's not true,
Yeah.
but I think that feeling is there. Like, I don't know if I can help this situation. So I think probably, earliest feeling, probably somewhere, around, the divorce of my parents. I can't help this. I can't fix this.
Right.
Type of thing. And then probably again with, an out of control stepmom and had to take care of my little sister. And so I guess that burden, like I got to make things right. I got to take care of this person, even though I'm 12 and she's 1, type of thing.
So talking about childhood beliefs, honey, when you had those feelings, how did you find relief?
Yeah, I played a lot of sports, and then there's no relief. I didn't really talk to people,
No relief?
about that.
Yeah, kind of kept it to yourself.
And around the stepmom time, so when I kind of found pornography and all that, so probably running into that.
So didn't talk to anyone, and then eventually, as you got older, it turned into pornography to find
around that
relief?
age, because I was 12
Right.
when all that started.
That makes sense. Did you form any beliefs about yourself or family members because of these experiences?
I think responsible, like I'm responsible.
Yeah.
I have to take care, I've got to protect. I'm the one, it's on my shoulders, and I'm not gonna succeed. Like it's on me, and I'm
Yeah.
not gonna be able to do it. And then I think with my family, like
Yeah.
they should be here and they're not, maybe type of thing. I don't know.
How much of your current feelings and reactions in our relationship are about the past versus the present? I know we were talking about what stressed you out was like exploding at the kids.
Yeah.
And how much do you think that's related to your past versus present?
I think that initial explosion at the kids was very much around what was been building up over this last week at the conference. So I think I think the shame maybe like 20,
Yeah,
30%.
the embarrassed feeling.
The embarrassed feeling for the past.
30%?
Yeah. maybe
30%.
20, yeah.
20 to 30%.
Let's call it 25, yeah.
Okay. Can you summarize by making a clear statement about your feelings along with a request for help. For example, when I feel blank, I need this.
Yeah, I think when I feel embarrassment or shame,
Yeah.
I just need a hug from you and, tell me you love me.
I can do that.
You can agree to that?
Yes. Love you. Here, stay here, stay here. 'Cause I know you're a touch person. So it says here, if you're the listener, if a request was made you cannot meet, look for a compromise or something you can do. Don't make promises you cannot keep. As a listener, thank you for sharing, honey. What I learned from our conversation is that when you're feeling ashamed, embarrassed, or angry, sometimes you just need me to reassure you that I love you and give you a hug, and I can definitely do that.
Yep.
Okay.
Perfect.
I
Thank
love
you.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. So we, that was live and in person.
And recorded. Oh,
So
Lord. He's a
and
brave
forever.
man. Love you.
So what was in it? We processed another part of this when I blew up at the kids and how she was feeling. That was her prompting event. And then she asked me, when this is going on with the kids, I need you to stay present and calm.
Yeah.
And then I said, I'm sorry, I can't commit to that. I could be present or calm.
That was real.
Because in that moment, I probably needed to take a walk. And she said, okay, fair enough, right? So
Yeah.
don't promise what you can't promise. Because if you say, yeah, I'll do this, this is how I comfort you, and then you won't or you can't, you're going to break trust even more, right? And this, as you kind of you could tell from the questions about childhood, it's based on kind of attachment theory. So you had pain when you were a kid, and you were meant to be comforted by the people closest to you, and you didn't receive that comfort. And so now, when you feel that same pain, you
Yeah.
don't know how to get comfort, and so you react out of that. That make sense? So
Yes.
it kind of ties back. The other thing is there's no like fixing of the situation, right? Like a hug and I love you doesn't fix everything. But man, I feel better,
Yeah.
right?
Feels
And
comforted.
so
That's
I
the
feel
goal.
comforted. So she doesn't got to fix me, and I could be weepy or I could be reactive or whatever, and she can do that part.
And I think for me, a person who tends to be codependent and want to fix it to make it better, it really allows me just to be with John and listen well and love him versus like, how are we going to fix this situation? So it's a different approach, but I think at the end of the day, when we're feeling connected and intimate, the resolution is like, it's much quicker to get to. So he can repair with the kids. I can say things in a calm manner. I know where it was coming from. And so I think it gives us an opportunity to give each other a lot of love and a lot of grace.
Yes. And so I think I've also learned that while sex does not equal comfort, oftentimes comfort will bring some sex. So that's good news. I mean, guys, you when you do it the other way,
It's
I'm
true.
just telling you,
You're feeling connected.
you feel connected. It helps, okay? So, don't be expecting that. If you do that, you ruin the whole thing.
Right. It's not guaranteed.
Okay, so hopefully I didn't
Yeah.
just ruin all the men, okay?
Okay.
That's not, okay?
Okay, let's move
Okay,
forward.
cool. So,
Okay.
all right, now it's your turn. So on that, when you scan that QR code, on that sheet, yeah, you want to go back to that? On that
Do you have
sheet,
some extra hard copies too?
and if you cannot get it, oh my gosh, that's a lot of slides. There we go. If you cannot get it, I have a couple extra sheets here.
So at this time, we'd like you to turn to your partner, and we have about 10 minutes left in our class. And we'd like you to just practice it with your partner, or if you're here by yourself, with 15 minutes. We'd like for you to just sort of explore that. Maybe, does someone need a worksheet? We have, okay, I can give it to you because you're in the front. Okay, or to you. I'll give you one because I was walking towards you. Is this another one, honey? Which one is this? Right here?
It's not clear on the app. No, it's not coming up clear.
It's not clear on the app? Okay,
The second part.
okay, and then you guys need the soul words. Okay, we can put it up there too. I'm sorry, we don't have any more sheets, but you guys can take pictures or, oh, there you go. That's the first part. Yeah, because the first one is the guide and the second is the soul words.
Is that just one packet of sheets?
Oh, can they have one copy?
My phone.
Yeah, there you go.
This is it?
Yep, that's it. That's the guide.
Yeah, is it the same thing or?
Yep, it's the same thing. How do you have all this? Did we just give it to you?
Can I
you, love.
have one? I've been trying to get one.
If you,
Go. Take both.
I just pulled it up. If you do that QR code on your phone, it should pull right up. Oh, you don't have Verizon. I have so many bars. It ran out of bars. It can't even communicate how many bars I have in here. Okay. Yes.
Oh, I'll give it to you. Here, you can have this.
The one on the QR code doesn't seem to connect.
Yeah, the QR code is blurry. This page is blurry.
Here, go, friend. Hello? Hello?
If it's blurry and you're having a hard time, you can also, and you do have internet, you can Google comfort circle, and it'll come right up. But you can start here.
You can also just start here. You know, share one thing that's stressing you, and then just move it. We can just move it along. If you raise your hands, we can move it along. Do we have any more sheets? Do we have any more on there?
These are just the front. I just gave them the, the pages that they needed.
Okay, that's fine.
Hey, great job.
Excuse me, can I see the slide of questions 1, 2, and 3 again?
Yes.
These are 1, 2, and 3 right here.
No, that's 1, 1, 1. The one
Well,
that has
I'm sorry. I don't know why it redid the numbers.
Oh, so that's it.
That's
Oh,
it,
okay.
sweetie.
Very
Yeah,
good.
I don't know why it did that.
But then 4, 5, and 6 came up right away.
Okay, that's weird.
Thank you. I love all
Okay.
this stuff. I love it.
Okay, let's do the next one.
Hope it helps.
I do the ENTP stuff as a principal. I did it with my team. Enneagram,
Oh, you're a
ENTP,
principal.
Oh,
Enneagram 7.
I'm an Enneagram
Yeah,
3.
I saw it. So all this stuff I was going to mention, like something like that. Candace do that BTI. She's like, no. She's in the book. She's like, we don't need it. And I was so I was just messing with her like,
It helps so. And it makes it fun for the kids, for you two guys to know each other
in
too.
Ranchero, is that California?
San Diego.
San Diego.
Okay, we're in Alpharetta. We lived in Korea, church there, Kuwait, we've been all over. Dallas, principal, international school.
might have been part of the situation, but there was a situation happening that you acted out of, you know?
Okay.
So,
We should take one of us too. Just say 3 minutes to wrap up or something. Maybe say can wrap up and then just we could say
I think we should just put our contact information.
hold on, babe. Go ahead, wrap it up.
Okay, we just have a couple minutes here to wrap up, and I know your conversation is rushed, but hopefully you got to do at least some of this conversation and to begin using this tool in your marriage. And the first time you do it, it's super clunky. You read off a script. I still read off a script because I'm not that good, and I'm always grateful because I'm not intuitive. I'm an emotional guy, but I'm not intuitive. I don't know what's going on usually with my wife. And so going through this really helps me. I hope that it really helps you. I want to put our contact information up here. So this is us. This is our emails. Please feel free to contact us with any questions, or like I had one really good one. What exactly is this part talking about, the response action piece? And so if you got any questions, please email us. We'd be more than happy to get connected and to respond to you. Part of the reason that this works is because we both agree to it, right? And so maybe you stink at going through the comfort circle, and you get to the end, and you've made your request. Here's what I need for comfort, and then you fulfill that request as the listener, and then you both go, that was okay. That's okay. It's okay to be okay. It's a process, and you'll learn, and it'll get kind of deeper and deeper as you continue to do it. But hopefully it's at least, maybe it's not, but maybe it's, right? So if you got like a, then that's good, but it only works if you both agree, because if I, as the speaker or as the listener, stink, the other person's got to go, man, you really tried, you know? And to honor that. And to just keep trying, even if we're not good at it. I promise you, it will develop into a tool, if it's not already one, that will be your favorite way to resolve and come back into that loving situation. So thank you so much for all of your time. I really appreciate it. Thank you to everybody that's streaming, and have a great rest of your conference. We love you.
Appreciate you being vulnerable.
I got a quick question. How long did you guys work on this?